What actually saves you? Is it works or is it grace? This actually is addressed in Romans chapter 3, verses 20. Actually, we can go back up to verse 1. But there has been a debate, conversations, especially when it comes to this topic about works and grace. Am I saved because I do good works or I try to keep the law, basically God's commandment, I try to be a good person? Or is it this gift that comes from Jesus Christ? Well, again, Romans chapter 3 actually deals with this. Let's dive into it. So in Romans chapter 3, obviously I will start in verses 20 through 25, I believe. It's pretty lengthy. But it says, therefore, or going back up to 19, it says, now we know that whatever the law says, it says to those who are under the law, that every mouth may be stopped and all the world may become guilty before God. Therefore, by the deeds of the law, no flesh will be justified in his sight. For by the law, it is the knowledge of sin. So here we know that the law provides the awareness, the understanding, the knowledge of sin. But again, it says that this is to show that that the world may become guilty before God, because again, trying to keep the law means that you are doing so apart from grace of God, which we'll get into. Verse 21 says, but now the righteousness of God, his grace, apart from the law, is revealed, being witnessed by the law and the prophets, even the righteousness of God through faith in Jesus Christ to all and on all who believe. For there is no difference, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, being justified freely by his grace through the redemption that is in Christ Jesus, whom God set forth as a propitiation by his blood through faith to demonstrate his righteousness, because in his forbearance God had passed over the sins that were previously committed, to demonstrate at the present time his righteousness, that he might be just and the justifier of the one who has faith in Jesus. So while that is a mouthful, it pretty much sums up that when we talk about, again, what actually saves you is the grace of God. Because when we go back to the Old Testament and we realize that even having a priest go into the